Hi there, it's Declan here from Rehabilitate. I hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk to you about Morton's neuroma, a very common foot injury. Throughout the video I'm going to talk about the background of this injury, the signs and symptoms and how to diagnose Morton's neuroma, and finally a step-by-step guide on how to rehabilitate this injury back to normal health. Also going to throw in a few tips and advice on how to stop this injury from coming back again in the future. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. So Morton's neuroma is a painful foot condition that affects one of the nerves in between the toes. Around the world it's got a few different names, so it can also be referred to as Morton's metatarsalgia or also interdigital neuroma. So when you have Morton's neuroma, a nerve within the foot becomes irritated and therefore it thickens. And because there's not a lot of room in the foot due to there being a lot happening inside it, so there is bone, fascia, muscle and a lot of anatomy cramped into quite a small space. Therefore, when the nerve thickens, it puts a lot of pressure on the surrounding anatomy, and this pressure causes pain. Morton's neuroma can happen in one foot alone or both feet at the same time, and generally it is seen in between the third and the fourth toe most commonly, but it can also be seen in between the second and the third toe as well. Just to give a bit of reference as well into what toe is which, the big toe is your first toe, and then working outwards towards the fifth toe is the little toe. Morton's neuroma can affect anyone at any age, but historically it has affected middle-aged women more than any other demographic. This is put down to the fact that they tend to wear tight shoes and high heels, and this adds extra pressure to the lower part of the foot. Also, people who do a lot of running, this is increasingly becoming a determining factor for people that get Morton's neuroma. And again, this can be down to one of two things: the footwear that they use and also their style of running. So if you have Morton's neuroma, you'll initially experience a tingling sensation in the space in between your toes, and over time this will develop into a shooting pain or a burning in the ball of the foot and at the base of the toes. A lot of people describe Morton's neuroma as similar to walking with a stone stuck underneath their toe whilst they're walking with shoes on. The pain or burning feeling is often worsened when walking or wearing shoes that squash the feet, and people who have had this generally say that the best way to remedy the pain immediately is to take off all footwear and to rub around the area of pain. So if you're feeling similar symptoms, then the likelihood is that you have Morton's neuroma, but please always check with a health professional before going on to the rehabilitation stage. So the aim for rehabilitation for Morton's neuroma is quite simple, and that's to make room again in the foot so then the pressure isn't being caused on the nerve. So initially you want to be applying ice to the area of the foot that's affected 3 or 4 times a day for about 10 to 15 minutes per sitting. I would recommend just using ice from the freezer and wrapping this in a tea towel. Never apply direct ice to the feet because this can cause ice burns, and this will give you more pain than what you started with. Ice is a fantastic anti-inflammatory, so the aim of this step is to reduce swelling on the nerve and the surrounding areas, and therefore reduce pressure on the nerve and hopefully therefore stopping any pain in the area. So the next step is to stop doing the activity that causes the pain. This is something that you're going to have to figure out a little bit yourself, but if we are to use the example of a runner who is experiencing pain when he runs, and this is because of a certain pair of trainers that he's wearing that aren't supportive and they're quite tight. So we'll go into steps later about replacing trainers, and this is a good step to take, but at the same time you need to stop the activity for a week or two because you need the toe and the surrounding structures to mend themselves. If you just change the trainers and start running straight away without allowing the nerve to repair, then you won't see any immediate impact. So another thing that you can do, and it was mentioned briefly in the last point, is change your footwear or make changes to your footwear to help the foot in regards to releasing pressure on that nerve. So the most obvious and probably the most expensive choice is to change the footwear. If you are a runner, then buying a new pair of running trainers which have sufficient support and cushion is the best way to go about this. However, there are cheaper alternatives. There are a piece of equipment called metatarsal pads or metatarsal lift pads. These pads are inserted into trainers or shoes, and what they do is they allow the forefront of the foot to spread out, and that therefore releases pressure on the nerve. Also, orthotic insoles that can be bought offline and easily inserted into the shoes instead of the usual sole that the shoe comes with. Or if you currently have worn insoles, this is a good time to replace them as well. If you wanted to try the cheaper alternatives first, then they may well work, and then if they don't, potentially look at getting a new pair of trainers, because you will see a massive difference by taking this step. If you've been following the steps on this video for 5 to 7 days and everything's gone to plan, then it's at this point then you should be feeling a lot less pain in the toe and also noticing a lot less inflammation. If this isn't the case and after a week you are still feeling pain in and around the toe when you try and walk, then it may be time to consult a health professional, as it may indicate a more chronic issue and an external factor. If it is the case that the pain and swelling has gone down, then this is great news, and now you can concentrate on some stretching and strengthening exercises. This really helps from the issue from coming back in the future. The main aim is to stretch the muscles and the ligaments in and around the foot to help maintain that space, and also strengthen the muscles to keep structure in the foot and also keep the natural arc in the foot. So the first stretch is called the manual plantar fascia stretch. All you need to do for this one, first of all, grasp your heel in one hand, and then with the other hand just put them underneath your toes on the ball of the foot. Then with the right hand, with the hand that's got your toes, just pull back, and this will create a stretch along the bottom of the foot. Hold this for about 30 seconds and then move on to the next exercise. Next up is a calf and Achilles stretch, and this also helps to stretch the plantar fascia in the bottom of the foot. So what you need to do is lie flat on the floor with your leg straight, then get yourself a towel, fold it up so it becomes like a band, and then wrap this around your foot. You want the towel to be sitting just below the toes, and then grab each side of the towel with each of your hands. After this, apply a pressure pulling backwards on the towel, and then you'll be able to feel a nice stretch in your calf and then probably under the bottom of your foot as well. Hold this stretch for at least 15 seconds and up to 30 seconds, and this can be repeated 2 to 4 times a day. The first strengthening exercise that you can do for Morton's Neuroma is called the figure of 8 exercise, and this doesn't require any additional equipment. So what you will need to do is just sit with your foot out in front of you, and then leading with the big toe, you're going to make a figure of 8 action, like so. And what this does is it uses a lot of the muscles that don't usually get used in the foot, and the foot is made up of a lot of different tiny muscles, and this really utilises them. This also helps with stretching some of these muscles and ligaments as well. Continue this movement for about 30 seconds and then move on to the next exercise. So the final exercise that you can do for Morton's Neuroma is the towel pull. All you need is a towel that I've put on the floor and spread out as evenly as possible. Try and get any creases out, especially around the foot, and then just put the foot on the towel nice and flat. Very simple exercise. What you want to do is use the toes to scrunch up the towel. So bring the towel towards you, and you'll feel the muscles working in the bottom of the foot. This again just really works the muscles in and around the toe, just helping to maintain that natural arc in the foot and make sure that all the structures are supported in and around the foot, so to ensure that the nerve isn't being put under any extra pressure that it needs to be. If you want to make this exercise harder, then you can put a weight on the end of the towel so it makes it harder for you to pull the towel towards you. But this is a really great exercise that you can do. Do it for around 30 seconds each time, and then have a rest, and then as you would in the gym, do 3 sets. If you feel any pain in the area, then stop the exercise straight away. I really do appreciate you tuning in and watching this video today, and if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, that would be fantastic. I'm also really keen to hear of your opinions on how you would do this differently or what you would add to the rehabilitation program for Morton's Neuroma. You can do that by commenting on this video below or heading over to the Rehabilitate forum, where we are trying to create a network of health professionals and opinions so we can make each other better and more aware of different ways of doing things. I will leave the links in the description below. Thanks again for watching the video, and I hope to see you soon.